Hello student, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Harin Ram Siari from Kirodimal College, University of Delhi. Today I am going to talk on module Life History and Reproductive Strategies from the paper Principle of Ecology. Learning outcomes. Student will be able to understand the concept of life history strategies. They will able to appreciate different life history adaptation as a design to match the environment. Organism live in and resources at their disposal. They will understand the concept of trade-off. They will understand what are the life history traits. They will understand why reproductive success is maximized by the organism using different strategies associated with the reproduction. At the end, they will be able to appreciate there is nothing called good, bad or perfect strategies. Organism inhabiting in different environments employing different optimal balance between cost and benefits, maximizing the fitness of the organism. Study of life history revealed the underlying simplicities that unite and explain the antinomian diversity of living beings existing on the earth. There are life cycles. A close look at these life histories revealed how beautifully they are designed to suit the lifestyle of the organisms. Life history studies are also bring into the picture the various strategies or set patterns influencing both survival and reproduction. These strategies are nothing but adaptation which have evolved to the enhanced fitness by the efficient uses of resources. In fact, the different life history studies can be seen as a different strategies to achieve fitness. The study of the life history trait is one area that serves as the key understanding related fields also. Studying life histories, traits and strategies leads to better understanding of the action of a natural selection, the central force of evolution. The organism responds and adapt to the physical conditions of environment they live in irrespective of their design. The ultimate task of the living beings is to reproduce and live as a many successful progeny as possible. The survival and the reproductive success are the two major components of fitness. Organisms strive of acquiring the maximum possible fitness, focusing on survival and reproduction through various ways. A C option is open to organisms as they are about to start life. Depending upon the physical conditions of environment and other selection pressure, organisms opt for a particular design of life. The decision pertaining to a design compromises many aspects of a traits. The rules followed and the choices made while going for the design of a life are referred to as history strategy. Thus, life history strategies is basically the options exhausted influencing traits associated with individuals' survival and schedule of reproduction. The set of rules and choice pertaining to allocation of resources and time which influence organisms survival and reproductive schedule, collectively called as the history traits, are known as a life history strategies. Natural selection has modeled different organisms to suit the environment they inhabit and achieve best possible fitness. Natural selection works on the traits which help in attaining this evolutionary fitness. Conflict between survival and reproductive traits exist as both are time and energy demanding. Through natural selection, nature has engineered all organisms to suit the environment they inhabit. A change in set of environmental condition brings along a variation in form and function. Biologically, the only the purpose to live in to reproduce and contribute to gene pool. This defines the reproductive success, which is a measure of evolutionary fitness. The differences we encounter among the different populations or species are actually adaptive modifications which improve their evolutionary fitnesses. For example, in the case of blue-headed races, a small reef which territories can be maintained, most of the young fish mature as a female and very few as small, dull males. On the country, large reefs witness more of the young fishes maturing into small, dull males, never changing sex. The fish developed into the adult form, which is ap- appropriate to the reef at which they arrive. Thus, there exists an inseparable bonds between the ecology and evolution. Life history of an organism include the various phases it passes through in its life cycle. The sequence of events that occur in a journal life cycle can be simplified as a birth followed by a period of growth or pre-reproductive period, a reproductive period, a post-reproductive period, and death. Life history basically explains the broad features of the life cycles, how fast the organism will grow, when it will be mature, how long it will survive, how many times it will be reproduced, how many offspring it will be have, etc. Life history traits are associated directly with the organism's survival and reproduction. The life history traits affected the growth rates of the populations, the average lifespan of the individuals, the age at which reproduction begins and ends, female fecundity, number of offspring produced by the female, etc. All these traits together not only shape up the growth rate of the population but also determine the abundance. Principal life history traits are size at the birth growth, age at maturity, size at maturity, number and size of the offspring, reproductive efforts, parental care, lifespan. Basically, life history strategy explain the allocation of the time and resources in various activities associated with the life affecting the fitness. Time and resources, or in other words energy, both are limited. Within this imposed limits, an organism has to make decisions to achieve fitnesses. Life history trade-offs are an organism's balancing of energy and resource allocations to the necessary strategies of life, growth, reproduction and survival. The success of a life history strategies depend upon both the environmental and developmental constraints of an organism. It's all about the making decision. The organism have limited resources and time at their disposal. Survival, growth, maintenance and reproduction both are measures of fitnesses and utilize same currency, time and energy. There exists an inverse relationship between survival and reproduction, the two major fitness components. If an organism opts for an early investment into the reproductive activity, growth and future survival and or reproduction are the bound to reduce. Organism going for delay reproduction, so better growth and longer lifespan. Organism needs to allocated resources, energy and time to various life activities. Physiological, ecological and evolutionary constraints prevent organism from the evolving all traits to reach their maximum limits. There is a cost associated with the very life process. Energy and time allocated to one process is not available to other. So advantage is change to, of any traits is associated with the disadvantage is in other known as a trade-off. In other words, organisms have to make compromises in one or other life history traits. Trade-off are the physiological constants which where advantage of a change in any traits is correlated with the disadvantage is in other. For example, organisms that allocated more resources and time to the reproduction than their own growth or maintenance exhibit poor growth and subsequent survival. Cost of reproduction similarly, an organism can allocate energy to growth for a long time, enabling it to reach a large size and good quality offspring. The larger size is benefit, but there is a cost associated with it. The organism may be die without reproducing at all, or there is are increased chances to predators, parasites or diseases striking it. Only the solution to the problem of the trade-offs between the different components of fitness is the allocation of resources and the time with an optimum balance between cost and benefits, maximizing the fitness of the organism. Organisms inhabiting different environment employ different optimal balances. Reproduction is an costly affair, especially for the mothers, associated with the allocation of energy or resources. Age at first reproduction, referred to as a age at maturity, varies not only among the species but within the population as well. Age at maturation is absolutely critical as the fitness is usually more sensitive to the changes in these traits as comparing to the other traits. Both early maturation and delayed maturity come with their respective costs and benefits. The benefits of maturing early are early maturing organisms spend less time as juvenile, which increases their chances of survival and reaching maturity. The offspring are produced at an early age and start contributing to the population growth along with the parent. Thus, early maturing organisms have higher fitness. At the same time, the risks associated with the strategies includes poor growth, increased risk of death and poor subsequent fecundity. Thus, a trade-off exists between early reproductive efforts and late reproductive successes and or survival. The decision to reproduce not only affect the offspring size and number but also influence parents' own life span. Especially for mothers, reproduction is a costly affair. The resources available for growth and maintenance are diverted to the reproductive activities, resulting in reduced longevity. For example, the female collared flycatcher that reproduced earlier had smaller clutch size, number of eggs laid in a set of the female birds throughout life than those who were more patient. In figure, you can see the colored flycatcher. The mothers investing in a reproduction at an early age suffered in the term of longevity and had a reduced lifespans. For example, Rhesus macaque is a long-lived reproducing primate which reproduces repeatedly, usually reproducing one young each year, which is raised by mother. Like other primates, is constantly struggle to strive a balance between current reproduction and survival and future reproduction. Another example, sand crickets population where the choice is between flying ability and early reproduction. You can see in the figure Rhesus macaque, mother and baby. Female sand cricket exist as a two distinct morphs, long-winged and short-winged. The long-winged are blessed with the flying ability, fully developed flight muscles, fueled with a rich storage of triglycerides for better survival chances when the resources are diminishing. But the ovaries of the long-winged females grow at a considerably slower rate than those of the short-winged females, which produces less total lipids and triglycerides but more phospholipids, which is an important in egg development, than long-winged females. The two moths clearly display different specialization, flight versus early reproduction via intermediary metabolism. In figure number 4, long-winged female and short-winged female moths of Gyrellus firmius of the same age, day 5 of the adulthood. In the left panel, the four wings have been removed to show variation in the hind wings. The middle and right panels illustrated dissections of morphs showing the much larger functional flight muscles, the but much smaller ovaries in the flight capable female, and subsequently undeveloped flight muscles but much larger ovaries in the flightless female. In these strategies, the organism allocated energy into growth and withhold reproduction till a later age. Delayed maturity in many cases allow further growth. In many species, plants and fishes, which grow through the life, fecundity increases with the size. It is correlated with body mass. Delayed reproduction in such cases leads to greater initial fecundity as the organisms allocated resources to growth and self-maintenance and then to immediate reproduction, a kind of investment which played off later. Female black rockfish continues to grow throughout their lives. The larger older females produce a much higher number of eggs as compared to smaller younger females, fecundity correlated with the body mass. Also, older mothers produce eggs laden with the larger oil droplets for their larvae, serving as an important metabolic fuel until they can feed to their own. In figure number 5, you can see the black rockfish. You can see in figure number 6 a larva from a 17-year-old black rockfish showing a larger oil droplets used to fuel growth and stave off starvation. The larva hatching out from the eggs with the larger oil droplets grow faster and survive better than those hatching out from the eggs with the smaller oil droplets. The quantity of offspring produced increases juvenile survival rate. Thus, older rockfish mothers are reproductively more successful or have higher fitness. Rockfish also offer an example how ecological condition can influence life history traits which in turn can affect population growth rate and abundance. The extensive size selective harvesting of rockfish off the Oregon coast from the 1966 and 1999 reduced the average age of the rockfish, which non-intuitively decreased the number of eggs produced by those smaller females, decreased the larval growth rate and survival. In some streams, guppies, Poecilla reticulata, faced tremendous predation pressure from the cichlid fish, Cranichichela alta, which are preyed heavily on a large mature guppies. In some stream and above the waterfalls, the Cranichichela was absent and guppies faced lower predation. In Cranichichela dominated streams, the guppies were small sized, matured, faster, reproduced earlier and produced more and small sized offspring than guppies from streams with a low predation. In two streams, Rajnik and colleagues moved guppies from a site where they were preyed upon by the Cranichichela to site where the both guppies and other predator Cranichichela were absent. After several generations, guppies were collected from both the place of the origin and introduction, and the offspring were reared under the common laboratory conditions. Guppies revealed of the Cranichichela predation exhibited delayed maturation and reproduction, large adult size, fewer and large offspring. In figure number 7, you can see the fish at the top, Cranichichela alta, one of the key predators in the high predation localities. The middle fish, Rivivulus hereti, the only the predator co-occurring with the guppies in the low predation sites, the fish on the bottom left, an adult male guppy, on the bottom right, adult female guppy. Father also like to wait. The early and the late maturation strategies come with their own benefits and cost and influence different components of fitness. The size of blue-headed male races is important as the reproductive successes of male depends on its competitive ability with other males. The polygynous male prefer to wait and grow in size prior to entering reproduction. In this coral reef fish population, the female races mature earlier than the males. The dominant large late phases, males are the good at the displaying the elaborate countership behavior, defending nests or mating, maintaining the mating territories on small reefs. Another type of males within the population are small, female mimicking the young males initial phase. The young males achieve their reproductive success by sneaking into the spawning of the large males. Thus, young males do not spend much time and energy in the reproducing, and their reproductive investment in lower on a small reefs than on a large reefs where it is not possible for the large males for defending the territories. On small reefs, the reproductive success of large males is higher. In figure number 8, terminal phase male blue-headed rays, you can see different examples of the strategies employed by the animals when it's come to making the decision related to the reproduction includes a codfish produces hundreds of thousands of tiny eggs where a kiwi Apteryx is a single egg then weighs 25% as much as its mother. A human baby takes almost an year to stand up and start walking while the wild-beast clubs of babies of other grazing animals are up and running within the few minutes after the birth. The common Tyler birds prevents making the frequent visits to fetch food and feed chicks with pheasant chicks can run and pick the food almost immediately after hatching, not bothering the parents much. In figure number 9, you can see the X-ray of kiwi Apteryx showing the bird's enormous egg. In figure number 10, you can see the common Tyler bird. Once organism decide to reproduce, the next question is regarding progeny, size and number. The mother having fixed capital of the calories can either make many tiny eggs or few large size eggs or size ones. This strategy can be looked up as quantity versus quality, where the lay enormous number of tiny eggs, small eggs strategy or raise a few large young strategy. The profligate small egg strategy or prudential large young strategy reproduction are two extremes, but both works for the same cause, attending the fitness. The reproductive fitness of parental is the cumulative effects of all surviving offspring uh, produced in its lifespan. Higher the number of offspring produced which survive to the reproduce as adults, greater the parental fitness. Apart from physiological constituents of the individual species, environmental ecological factors are notoriously famous to the influence this trait. Length of juvenile period, competitors, predators, extended of the parental care, etc. All these factors are contribute subsequently to the strategies thinking about the number and size of progeny to be produced. Size and number of the offspring make a choice. On the other extremes, having a few large young and investing more into each, promising higher reproductive fitness. A larger young gives a better return of survivors for the every investment calorie. The fitness of offspring is inversely related to the to number of offspring produced by the parent. It would be a favor for the offspring if parents allocated entire reproductive efforts into one single offspring. Large size offspring have a higher chance of survival. At the same time, larger offspring usually are costlier. Clearly, there exists as a conflict into an interest between parent and offspring. The conflict is obvious and logical as the progeny and adults are exposed to different selective pressure. Parents often resolve this problem of conflicts by going for the largest possible number of offspring they can produce without compromising their own fitnesses. Reproductive investment, mother trade carefully when it comes to the size and number of offspring to be produced. They can either opt for the quantity or quality, depending upon their own energy reserves and total lifespan. Organism with smaller clutches or uh, later can be offer parental care and ensure better survival of offspring and investment into reproductive fitnesses. Organism producing too many offspring to not invest into parental care usually. Instead of ensuring higher juvenile survival, they can compensate via high fecundity. Go for many small size offspring, investing very little into each, or make few larger offspring, investing more per offspring. Quantity or quality investment. The measure of reproductive success fitness is the number of eggs produced as a number of offspring produced definitely adds to reproductive fitnesses. Mother investing very little into each egg can be produce many tiny ones and each egg is capable of developing into an adult. But fitness is not only the number produced but the number that survive to produced. For example, the chances of survival of the codfish eggs produced are slim. Many of those tiny eggs either satiate the predators or die by the accidents, and only a few tiny fraction reaches to the adult stage and contributes in the population growth. This explains the more or less stable population size of codfish or salmon despite such magnificent reproductive values. At first sight, is many look ahead decision as the calories investment in all those tiny eggs which fail to survive get wasted, but a second look endorses the strategies as the amount invested in the each egg was moderately low and flooding of eggs, ensuring the survival of at least a few. Size growth as at maturity, everything matters. Producing few large young is the alternate strategy to achieve reproductive fitnesses. The mother treats carefully by the producing few young but investing more into each one of those. The chances of survival of each young are much higher than those tiny eggs produced in millions. The greater numbers of surviving offspring contributed more to the population growth and at a faster rate. Thus, investing more per offspring turns out to be a smart strategy and overall higher fitnesses. Clutch size. The number of eggs laid by the birds in a single reproductive efforts, termed as the clutch size, varies among species. The clutch size increases from equator to poles and from the tropical rainforest to tropical savannas. The explanation to all such observation lies in the evolutionary theory of natural selection. The nature selects the fittest where the fitness is decoded as the reproductive success of the individual. Birds lay the number of eggs that will be allow them to produce maximum number of offspring, maximizing fitness. Thus, the number and size of the offspring produced has been adjusted via natural selection to optimize individual fitness. The clutch size of species is shaped by the many factors like environment, nest predators, nest size, behavior, number of parents caring for the young, body size, food supply, etc. Clutch size may be constant and so no variation within the lineage's fixed clutch size. The clutch size variation is obvious when the compared among different birds species. Tropical birds versus temperate relatives. The stable climate condition is tropics is the reason which bestows tropics with the rich species diversity also limit the clutch size. The climates allow the population to stay near carrying capacity, increasing compensation for the food, competition for the food, and increased number of predators led to the inconspicuous nest designs, enforcing a nest size constraint. A small clutch size is also favored as it saves energy for renesting in case the nest is robbed by the predator and the female loses all the eggs. The larger clutch size also take larger to lay, larger brood is noisier and also needs more frequent visit to nest, attracting predators' attention and putting both offspring and parents' survival at the stake. All these factors combined together favors a greater adult survival which in perhaps further benefited from the reduced reproductive efforts through smaller clutches but more parental investment per young ensuring the higher juvenile survival. Remember the currency is the fitness only. On the other hand, variable environment conditions encourages birds to lay larger clutches to compensate for heavy losses during the harsh winter month. A drastically low population density at the end of the harsh winters, when the presented with an abundant food resources, as most insect populations dependent on primary producers explode in spring and summer, has the opportunity to increase in the absence of competitors. Also, longer day length during the spring and summer allow the parents to forage longer for food, enabling them to rear a longer brood in temperate regions. Here, the parental investment increases As more time and energy is devoted to offspring rather than the allocating the own survival and maintenance, a reason for the shorter lifespan temperate birds than their tropical relatives. How many times to reproduce? Reproduce once or more than once. Sex desperate, anti-nices live fast, dying young. A small-sized mouse, carnivorous mammal, survives mainly on insects through fruit and small vertebrates. Example, frogs and lizard. As the winter approaches, the male Anti-hynus stops producing sperms irreversibly and for the next 2 weeks is engaged to intense mating season as all the females come into estrus at the same time into the population. During this short mating period, males copulate frenetically with as many females as possible, and each of this season may be run off 5 to 14 hours. All the males in the population die at the end of the breeding season, little before they complete the first year of their lives. The males die because of physiological stress resulting from the aggression and competition for the females and the exertion from the multiple mating sessions. The usually high levels of stress related corticosteroids in the blood leads to internal bleeding and the collapse of immune system. The phenomenon in which exhibited here is called the semelparity, where the animals die after single reproductive events and is common among many animals groups like insects and salmons but rare among the mammals. Female female may store the sperm for the up to the period of 2 weeks into the oviducts, and only the most viable sperms fertilize the eggs, resulting in the good quality offspring. This explains the desperation of male of impregnate as a many females as a possible, as the ultimate goal is to father as many offspring as possible. Additionally, male is forced to exhaust all the energy reserves in one go as marsupial females produce only one later during this annual food peak as the young ones are born at an early stage of development and rarely on this mother's milk for the considerably long period of time, rendering the female unavailable for the mating. The breeding season of the Antecaniasis is highly shortened and closely synchronized with the food supply, and the males are forced to make the best possible use to this uh, tight window of the time. Ethioparity is the alternative reproductive strategy in contrast with the semelparity, where the organism live on reproduce repeatedly, and life histories of the most of the plants and animals reflect this trade. Parental Atlantic puffins make uh, responsible fathers. Atlantic puffins are the seabirds found in the Atlantic Ocean where males get an equally attractive partner, a trend not common among birds. This sexually monomorphic and socially monogamous sea parrots spend most of their lives at the sea and return to the land only during the spring and summer for breeding colonies. As puffins are colony breeders, males spend more times maintaining and defending the burrows. The female lays a single egg, and male does not shy away from the bearing the responsibility of not just incubating and guarding it but on hatching, even feeding the chick. So Atlantic puffins make responsible father who share the responsibility of raising the chick, direct parental care, and investment actually ensuring the high juvenile fitness in addition to the defending territory indirect parental care. In figure, you can see the Atlantic puffins. Summary: life comes in vivid patterns, shape and size. Organisms inhabiting different environments are designed differently. This diversity of form is actually a reflection of adaptive modification to the environment the organism live in. Irrespective of the design, the ultimate purpose of all organisms living is to reproduce and contribute into a gene pool. Natural selection has tailored all organisms to perform this single ultimate task. The astonishing diversity of life forms we come across is simply a reflection of how organisms achieve that ultimate goal. The different strategies adopted by the different species or different populations are the consequences of the different selection process. Different life history strategies are adopted by the species or populations depending on the environment they inhabit. The environment includes not only the factors like temperature, humidity or salinity, but also predators and competitors. The prominent life history traits influence our age at the first reproduction, maturity, size, number and size of the progeny, how many times to reproduce and how long to live. All these traits are either directly or indirectly related to the organism's survival or reproduction. As the resources and time at the organism's disposals are limited, allocation needs to be made among the various life activities. The energy and time allocated to one activities or traits is not only available for the other, which results in trade-offs. A conflict is expected between survival traits, size or growth, age at the first reproduction span, and reproduction related the traits, clutch, later, size of offspring, number of reproductive efforts made, etc. The trade-offs impose a limit of organism and thus prevent all the traits involving to maximum fitness. The organism ultimately settle down for the optimum fitness possible in the face of various constraints set by these trade-offs. It is fascinating needs to see that all the most complex questions have really simple solutions. The life histories of the animal which may be times leave as confused are nature's engineering to achieve whatever is best remaining well within the limits set by the nature itself. Thank you.